Moving on, separate bombings across Afghanistan have killed 6 foreign forces and injured 6 others. A bomb blast outside the southern city of Kandahar killed 4 foreign troops and wounded 2 more. Another soldier died in a bomb explosion in southwestern province of Farah. A bomb attack in eastern Paktika province killed a Polish soldier and injured 4 NATO troops. About 99 international forces have been killed in Afghanistan this year, with June being the deadliest month. Today's killings coincide with the operations against Taliban insurgents across Afghanistan. At least 36 militants have died in the operations within the last 24 hours. I'm now joined by our correspondent Faz Khorshid in Kabul. Faz, in recent months, the Taliban have changed their tactics by using more deadly methods. As a result, the coalition casualties are mounting. What do you read into this situation?
Well, as you earlier mentioned, that today we saw the casualties of foreign forces here in Afghanistan, in southern Afghanistan, in southwestern, and as well as in eastern Afghanistan. And exactly after 20 minutes following these 3 separate incidents that took place in Afghanistan, as a result of which 6 foreign troops have been killed, and we talked with the Taliban spokesman Zabiullah Mujahid following these attacks took place on NATO forces in Kandahar, Paktika, and Farah province. Zabiullah Mujahid not only took the responsibility of these 3 separate attacks, but he also reiterated that it was for the revenge of killing their fighters in Mehrdad district of southern Kandahar province on Friday, as a result of the joint operation took place by the Afghan security forces and Canadian forces that where more than 100 Taliban fighters have been killed. Where in Mehrdad still the diffusing mines planted by the Taliban fighters last week continues, and Afghan government warned the inhabitants of those villages from returning to their homes. And regards to your question that why the attacks have increased in the past 2 years in Afghanistan, I mean by the Taliban fighters, as you see that from one side Afghanistan is now encountered with cross-border attacks from the Pakistan tribal areas, and inside the Afghanistan, the futile policies which are being conducted by the NATO forces in Afghanistan. And as you see that while almost 7 years passing from their presence,
right,
but the people of this country are still facing with numerous and challenges, especially security.
That's right. Innocent Afghan civilians seem to be bearing the brunt of the escalating fight between the coalition forces and the Taliban, don't they?
Yes, of course, yes. Last year, as a result of the reinsurgency of the Taliban, not only the reinsurgency of the Taliban, but also the air military operations of NATO forces, 8,000 Afghan civilians have been killed. And to date, in this year, in 2008, now we have the figures that 6,000, it has reached to 6,000 Afghan civilians have been killed this year as a result of the reinsurgency of the Taliban, and as well as with the air strikes of the NATO forces in this country. But now, as we see that, while almost 7 years passing, but we can see that now the NATO forces and foreign forces are unable to handle the situation in this war-stricken country.
One last question, very quickly, if possible. The last 2 years have seen the re-emergence of the Taliban movement as a fighting force in Afghanistan, and of course a major threat to its government. Where is the power base? I mean, how do these people recruit new militants?
Well, I'm sorry, I couldn't get the question. Will you
how do the Taliban recruit new militants?
Oh yeah, yes. You mean how do they recruit their fighters? Well, actually, as we see that in southern Afghanistan, especially in Helmand province, the southern part of Afghanistan, the Pashtun tribal, Pashtun people of Afghanistan are living there. And as a result of the air operations air strikes of NATO forces, 4,000 Afghan civilians in southern Afghanistan, Pashtuns, have joined the Taliban militants. And we have been there, and we have information, especially the remarks of the Afghan officials themselves. They say that due to the military airstrikes and the futile policies of the United States of America in southern Afghanistan, people are now joining insurgents. For example, if airstrikes took place over the houses of people, and those people are now joining insurgents. And from the other way, they are recruiting their fighters from Pakistan tribal areas. We have information that in the recent developments...
Faiz, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much. That was Faiz Khurshid, our correspondent in Afghanistan. Thank you for joining us.
Well, we have to recap the top stories for